Hello, I am Dan.
And I'm Can.
And this is a candid conversation. Yay! How are we doing? So we're switching things up a little bit. No longer pebbles, but candid conversations in a brand change that we're doing here. Rebranding.
Kind of slowly rolling this out. Yeah.
Yes. So kind of doing things. This will be fairly similar, but Candy's going to do a little, cranking here and twisting there and, adding a little spice here and there just to change it up a bit. But let's see what she has in store for us today. Candy, the microphone is yours.
I feel frozen all of a sudden.
Don't do that. We've had issues with the internet lately, and people are going to get it.
Oh, now you're lagging. Did you reset your internet?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's not really. I don't have it all set up perfectly the way I want to do it yet.
That checks.
It's not quite the way I want it to be yet because I wanted to start with 2 truths and a lie, or 2 lies and a truth. I don't know which one. Is it 2 truths and a lie? Is that usually? Yeah. And, but instead I'm just going to start out with the lie and not 2 truths.
2 truths and a lie minus the truths. Candid conversation.
Okay. So I want to talk about something that is relative to today in society, right? And that's the lie that men are the problem. It's also the lie. So this is 2 lies. Women are the problem. Those are both the lies. I'm giving it away, guys. I'm making it super easy. And the other lie is that you have to choose one of those 2. Okay. So where am I going with this? Come on. Okay. So really what I want to talk about is this thing where you have women bashing on men, men bashing on women, and thinking that all are just scum, right?
Yes.
This is a thing going on in society. I don't know if it's like, I don't see this with our children. I don't know if it's mostly a MAGA issue. You know what I'm saying? Is it the MAGA that are that think this way? Or is it, but it's like pop feminism, not real feminism, but like pop feminism is kind of like all men are bad, and I just don't.
Okay, there's, again, if you're looking at the pendulum swing, both ends of the swing,
yeah, but it
have
doesn't
issues.
Yes,
Either extreme
it's
feminism or extreme toxic masculinity.
As pop feminism, I guess that's just what I'll call it. But like, because feminism is good. Feminism has helped people. I don't want to call it feminism.
We have toxic masculinity. We have toxic feminism.
Okay, so toxic feminism.
It would be the opposite.
And maybe there's a word for it. We just don't know because we're not
smart,
intelligent in this area. We're talking out our asses, guys, okay? But we're having a candid conversation. This is a conversation that we would have if we're by ourselves,
Do you have a breath mint?
Was that from Ace Ventura? Anyways, okay, so I saw a post the other day, and it was talking about men, something about men. I don't remember, but I like to go to the comments and read these. And in the comments, women were saying like red flags were these men who, if they have like conflict, they would find their boyfriend like hidden like under the bed crying. And they were making fun of it. And I'm like, that is a trauma response that man learned that it wasn't safe to cry where people see him. So he hid to cry. And it looks very childlike. But instead of like laughing at him and saying he's immature, you can be a very mature woman by encouraging him to come out and allowing him to express in front of you and it be okay. Mm-hmm. Like, I think, you tell me, I feel like in our marriage, there came a point where you didn't have to just be this strong, stoic person. You could actually show emotions and I wouldn't just fall apart. I remember there was times like if you cried, I would be like, oh, this is bad.
Yes.
If you cry, this is really, really bad. And I think that happened once. And I was like, my world is collapsing. Like, this is so scary. But we made it through it, right? Yes. I think it got safer for you when you could cry or you could express even frustration with me and me not be so emotionally like traumatized myself and not able to regulate and not able to take even constructive criticism. That's not somebody who is necessarily weak. Someone who can't take constructive criticism is a person who was abused when they were told that you know what I'm saying? They had to aim for perfection to stay safe. So if we could start to look at one another, it's not a him versus her. Like we need to realize that we're on the same page. I think is part of it. The lie that we're told, this is not just from the church though. We are told this in society that it is men versus women.
Yeah.
And you have to pick one or you're some sort of traitor. You're a pick me if you support men. And if you support women, oh, you're a girl's girl, but then the guys hate you, you know?
I think there's so much behind this. And it's really coming to a front now because there's a challenge to the status quo. And the status quo has always been the patriarchy.
Yeah.
The head, thousands of years now, the patriarchy's been in control. And it hasn't really been challenged. And then through the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, the feminist movement kept growing. And women started incorporating themselves. I can do anything a man can do. And then the rhetoric back was like, well, yeah, can you lift this? Yeah. Can you fight off this bear? Let me show you. And then guys are out wrestling wild animals and stuff. So this challenge came in and it challenged the masculinity, the leadership, the headship of men. So they started fighting back with the way they were. And that's where this toxic masculinity started coming to a head of, well, no, I need to be the one in control. And you look at, you see a lot of these alpha males that are putting out this toxic masculinity in the world. And you see how they act and treat women and other people. And it's like, you're actually highlighting very feministic qualities, energies in what you're doing. You're receiving a lot of action. Yeah. People are giving a lot to you.
Yeah, your wife is waiting on you.
That's a feminine energy that you're also showing there.
You're hindering, I think men don't understand and women don't understand that if you think that your identity, your masculinity is wrapped up in your you being in control all the time. First of all, that's naive. It's somebody who hasn't lived enough life, honestly, or haven't grown emotionally and mentally and all that. And I would say take for instance, you are physically stronger than me. And there is no doubt about it. Scientifically, male humans tend to have more muscle than females, and they tend to be stronger. That doesn't mean every man is stronger than every woman. There are women that are very, very, very strong and stronger than most men probably. Yeah. And then there are men who are weaker than most women. Okay, that's definitely a thing.
There's women out there that could kick my ass in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
you're like, definitely, I'm calling them up right now because you need a whooping, boy.
But let's think about it this way: if the problem is in masculine, you think that it means masculine, right? That your physical strength makes you masculine. Yeah. Well, first of all, as you grow and you age, your physical strength will naturally decline at some point, right? Yeah. And does that mean you're no more man? You're less man? No, it does not mean that because it's not tied to that. But also, just being physically the strongest, I feel like in our relationship, takes for instance, and I don't think this is because you can't be more emotionally in tune. I think you've grown a lot in this area because you weren't raised to have that. So you've had to develop it more. And, but I think when it comes to parenting, when we're making like decisions about like where a kid is emotionally struggling, you kind of let me take the lead there. Right?
Yeah.
And if you were to just take the lead, sometimes it wouldn't go very well. I feel like you would just be like, suck it up, you're doing it. Whereas I'm like, hey, there's a lot, like what we had with our son not too long ago.
Yeah.
You know, you were like pissed. And I was like, okay. I was mad, but I was like, hey, we can come at this from a different angle.
Yeah.
And you kind of let me take the lead.
To smack the kid around a little bit.
Okay, but you wouldn't do that. Let's just be clear. But you were mad at just how he was behaving, right?
Yeah.
And I think the way I handled it actually made the kid kind of go on his own journey and turn the corner himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not because, and it was just kind of, I had a strength in that area. And you, I think, if you were going to consider yourself, which I know you don't, but if somebody were to consider you the leader, doesn't a leader know when to like back off and let someone who has the strength take over in that area? That's a good, smart leader, right?
Yeah.
Not a person, you know, let's say a king is leading over an army back in Roman times. I don't know. It wouldn't be like he shouldn't go into war like he's the best fighter. Yeah. If he's got better trained soldiers, right? They should be doing that part. Yeah. And he should be doing the strategizing or whatever with his, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, first of all, being in control all the time is not a good leader.
No, it's not. You need to know your strengths and weaknesses, and then on the weaknesses, have people around you that can help you in that area.
Yes. So if someone were breaking into the house, I'm going to lean on you. I'm going to want you to take the lead there.
I prefer you didn't, because I want to be able to move and be agile.
Well, I'm going to hide behind you.
Well, that's going to be tough with my cat-like reflexes and my ninja skills.
Get right on your back.
Yeah, that's not good either, okay? You're not Yoda and I'm not Luke. All right?
Well, you know what I mean.
Okay. Whatever.
So when it comes to like there's been times earlier in our marriage where I was like, Dan, I think someone's in the garage, and you weren't at home and you drove all the way home from work just to check, you know, like that. Yes, I still want that. And sometimes it's like the society is saying, you don't get this if you're not going to be this wife that cooks and cleans and does all this.
The big issue with it all is that we want the powers that be want black and white.
Yeah.
Men are this, women are this.
And that's the lie. Yes.
And in that, they've defined masculinity and femininity incorrectly. So the misdefinition of it gives you the alpha bros that are on TikTok and YouTube and all this, that are super jacked. They're fucking hitting HGH like no other. Their testosterone levels are through the roof because they're taking supplements all day, and that's all they eat. And,
I know. You know, I don't know that many women are attracted to that, but
I'm here to fight, fuck, and all this, you know, and that's what I'm gonna do. And that's a manly thing. That's all a man needs to do, you know.
Yeah. And have his wife wait on him, and
And then the woman is defined as this nurturer, this delicate little flower that's just there to come alongside and be like, no, we need to nurture this flower and let it raise up. It's delicate and fragile, and we have to be nice and talk to it, sing to it, and all this sweet stuff. And it's like, well, no, that's not. There's characteristics of both that can be in each individual, no matter what's located between their legs.
Yeah.
So you have some fight in you. You have a lot more than I think you want to be. You're full of piss and vinegar. You like a good confrontation.
I don't. No, it's not that I like confrontation. I don't shy away from it.
Yeah, you like a little razzle dazzle.
I think it makes a conversation interesting to like have some pushback, even against myself. I think it's interesting.
But you have that characteristic inside of you. You like that. It's part of what makes your life go is having confrontation. So that's masculine according to the definition's trait. So you're kind of a butch woman, I guess, because that's what you dress.
Never been called that, but okay. I guess I'll just add it to
I'm
the
saying
lips.
by the pure definitions of what's masculine, what's feminine, that's not very feminine of you
No.
to have it. And I'm sure you've dealt with that a lot in your life of, I got to.
Well, the weak and modest spirit or whatever. And I was like, so I got to just like be like,
that's not you at all.
No. I tried it. I did try it.
Yeah, it didn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
It didn't.
I didn't like it. It
So
didn't take.
There's all these definitions that we're using incorrectly of what's defined in it, instead of realizing, I think this leads to another point of, in our deconstruction, what we realized was, why don't we just share the burdens equally amongst each other? So this leadership burden, why don't you take a little bit of that on yourself also?
Are there areas you'd like to lead in that you have some strengths? Okay, you can take that.
Where I'm weak in leadership in certain areas, you can pick up. So dealing with the kids, where I'd be like a little more rigid and, nah, fuck that, you're doing it.
Yeah.
You could come in a little more softly and, just better emotionally equipped of, let's try to understand where they're coming from, Dan, and see, maybe we can handle this with.
But then there's been times where I've been at my wit's end and I've needed you to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, do I mostly do the emotional kind of stuff? I do a lot of that work, but I'm kind of wired. I like it. Yeah. But you do a lot of the other. Yeah.
We share the burden.
Yeah.
So neither of us are brought down completely by whatever's going on.
No.
And we share the burden in everything.
We're equally yoked, meaning we're walking side by side.
Yeah.
Rather than one in front of the other.
A lot better. It's given us a lot more energy and time to pursue other things because we're not struggling in areas where we're weak in.
Well, it's also given us time to not only do our own hobbies and stuff because we have more energy, but also to come together and do things together that we like to do.
Yeah. So,
but that's, I don't know.
I think our deconstruction has kind of proven the point, and it's a point that the conservative mindset wants to fight against because it goes against everything they believe in, everything they hold to be true, everything. It's their sacred cow of these roles and these placements of everyone that has. And society in and of itself is progressing, saying, hey, this has been going on way too long. We need to start progressing more. And we can do that if we start showing, hey, there's these qualities are part of everyone. And some people are better at certain areas than others, and that's all right. It's just how they're wired. That's how they were made. So let's play off of that and be a little more efficient in what we do. And it challenges their beliefs and it challenges their power.
Yeah. We need to stop giving in to the church system that is being pushed at us, but also society system that's being pushed that there's a disconnect, that we need to be disconnected, that we're separate from one another. If we looked at one another, if I looked at men as to how you're being treated directly affects me and other women. How I treat you is going to affect me. How I view you is going to affect me because guess what? My children are watching. My sons are watching. My daughters are watching. They're watching how you view women and they're watching how I view men, And then they're telling themselves, like, if I'm going around saying all men suck and all men are bad, and you have these little children growing up, we are programming them to think all men are bad and that women think they are. And we don't want to do that. We do not want that subconscious programming. It's not true.
And that's a point we brought up in this Wednesday's episode with Brad, where these narcissistic parents are teaching their kids how to live and adapt into a narcissistic lifestyle.
Yeah.
So they're training them to be raised by a narcissistic system in the church and whatever, because they know the safety is in, I got to do this. This is what it's looking for. If I adhere to this, then I won't be in danger anymore.
So fit more into this role that I've been told. If I do this, I'm safe.
Give over to what's given on to everyone else.
And how I would just kind of wrap this up to help somebody who might be listening, who might be like, how do we, they notice it, and we don't want to pass this down to our children. We don't want to believe a lie either. We don't want to, like those of us who are deconstructing, we got to deconstruct it all. There's so many things that are not just about Christianity. Christianity touches on pretty much all of these, but It's not just the religion you got to deconstruct from. It's society's systems that they're pushing on us to. They're intertwined with one another. Capitalism, all these things, patriarchy, they're all connected.
It's your subconscious. You got to deconstruct your subconscious.
Well, you got to reprogram it, but you got to become aware. So we see that men and women are being pushed away from each other, right? There's this disconnection, and reconnection is the answer. We've got to reconnect. We've got to realize that how we view men is going to backfire on us. If we keep saying they're the problem, they're going to turn around and say we're the problem. And it's just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because we're not really looking for the solution. We need to look for the solution. The solution, we need to learn how to connect with each other. And we need to let go of the roles and just meet each other right where we are, have real conversations. When you're out there dating, have real conversations. So what does a home look like to you? What does it look like how you run a household? What are you imagining? What am I imagining? Can we compromise? Like having these conversations instead of just like, do we, in Christianity, it's like, I just want to have sex so bad, I'll marry you. You see what I'm saying? And that is screwing people up. And then they're becoming parents really young, and it just starts a whole spiral, and they don't know how to teach their children anything other because that's all they knew. I mean, we know this because we lived it.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking that when we change our mind about this, it will change our life. That's what happened to us. We changed our mind about how we saw one another, how we related to one another, and it changed our marriage. And I would hope that people would take the advice of people that have been married almost 30 years. We've been together for 30 years, and we have a healthy, happy, we like each other, which is a rare thing. I feel like there's a lot of couples we know, they do not like each other, but they are married to each other still. Yeah. But instead, they'll take the advice of these 20-somethings who are going around saying men are the problem or women are the problem. Yeah. Like, that's not true. It's a lie. It's a big old fat lie. Stop.
There's Candy's solution.
Stop. Look for solutions. Look for ways to see one another, see the similarities, see where we can agree, and then move from that place of agreement outward instead of like starting with the differences and fighting over it. There's a lot of differences, but I bet we're a lot more alike than we realize.
Yeah. And definitely, because it's who we are.
And then use the differences as, use those differences, those unique traits, like you're more muscle, use that to the advantage of the family structure that we decide to create. And I will use my, my emotional, my intuition a little bit more for the family. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it should work. It's not about the actions you do, like cleaning and cooking and mowing the lawn and who's going to take out the trash. And though those are all things that we need to have discussions about, there's not a one size fits all, like all women do this. And if you're a good wife, you do this, and all men do this. And if you're a good husband, you do this. Like, no, it's unique and
it's a partnership
tailored to your relationship and your desires.
Yep. So come together right now. Over
me. What's he say? Over me? Come together right now.
I can't remember.
I don't know.
Misheard there.
Something me.
All right. So, come together, shoulder the burdens together, and figure out what works best for you.
Recognize the lie. Stop falling for it.
Yeah.
And try the reconnection is the revolution. That's what we're looking for. We've got to reconnect with one another. Stop increasing the separation. The separation is the problem.
Exactly. So go to danacan.com. Check out everything we have to offer there. Get everything that's related to Candid Conversations. And the Candi store is open. So get in there and check out all things Candi. Go to top of this, whatever you're listening to, give us 5 stars and a comment. We appreciate the comments that come through. Sarah Miller-Mott sent us a comment the other day saying, I see you're changing some things up. That's great. Keep going. Seen too many podcasts quit, and I'm glad you keep going. Well, we appreciate it, Sarah.
Yes.
And appreciate talking to you and having you around as part of our audience and being a guest at one time. That was a great episode.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it greatly. And And Mo, you were out there. You got that last call back. Let's see if you get this one because you've been going through them from the old ones on. Bless your soul.
They said they overcame their perfectionism.
Yeah, you can see us grow as you go through the episodes and turn into something actually decent from the first
We're
few.
growing, we're learning, we're changing. Hopefully it still resonates. Appreciate
all the comments coming in. And give us 5 stars. We appreciate that greatly. It helps everything on us, keeps moving us along and promoting us out. So just keep giving us 5 stars and go to YouTube. Hey, if you're on that listening and watching this, hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate that greatly also. And with that, Candi.
Just remember, notice the lies, change your mind, and you'll change your life. Bye.
Wow, words to live by. Bye. More.